lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Welcome back, guys. We are here with episode 5011 of Married at First Sight, season 17, episode 21. My gosh.
Right.
My gosh. I mean, if you guys haven't subscribed by now, if you haven't liked the video by now, Kimberly and I have been hard at work. My gosh, like the
Yes.
video, subscribe, because this has been a 5-6 month journey that we've been on together. So I feel like we're all family at this point. What do you think, Kimberly?
I agree. We are family now.
Yeah, we are family now. So please like the video as we get started. Today has been a cooler day. We had a very warm week here in Detroit, Michigan. We had 70s and high 60s, and it was lovely. But today I decided to go back to winter, and it's only 41 degrees. What's the weather like where you are, Kimberly?
Oh, it was warmer here today, 70s in North Carolina. So a much
Okay.
warmer day.
Ooh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, we like I said, we had some of those, which
Okay.
I took full advantage when the weather was nice and I was outside, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it when the weather is really nice, but it just got a little bit cool just the last of course I wanted to wait till the weekend to
Mhm.
turn nippy again.
Right. Oh.
So you guys are in the chat. What is the weather like where you are? Let us know. If you're watching us on replay, still you can let us know what part of the world you're in and what that weather is weathering like where you are. So let's see. We're gonna go ahead and get started because we got a little quick interlude, and I guess that's basically all it really was. But I still want to touch on it just a little bit, and that's with this couple here. Um, mm, mm, mm. And that was Lauren and Orion. Uh, what did you think about? We see that Lauren and Orion are at the archery place, which is kind of like a little bit like a different kind of a dodgeball almost because they have their mask on, but they got
Yeah.
the archery that doesn't have the point on it. But they're playing this game and they're supposed to be getting out their frustrations, and it looked like it was kind of fun. What did you think?
I did. Now, this is one that I would not be interested. I'm always talking about, oh, I would like to try that. But this one, nope, I wasn't interested at all. It just still
Okay.
seemed like it could get dangerous. But I guess Lauren liked it because I know Lauren does have a lot of frustrations built up towards Orion.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. She probably does, and a good thing that that these didn't have the sharp points because she might have got old boy there if they did.
Yeah.
But we see them playing around, and then afterwards they sit down on the bench, and the host decides to go get them some drinks. While he's gone, they're talking, and she's asking him, what was he talking about? What did he want? And if he wanted something more than a friendship, more than a friendship, these two, like, can you understand her? What do you think she meant by that?
No, I cannot understand her, but I think she just doesn't want to give up. It's just giving that pick Misha that we've been saying all season. And I don't know if it'll work. I'm not confident that a relationship between those two would work, even if they did give it another try off camera.
Mm, hmm Me too. Me too. I think the same as you. I I I I don't know. And hey, Miss Yo Yo, good to see you. Welcome in another very good content creators in our midst, and good to see you. Um, yeah, I was thinking like so. To be honest, and I don't normally just go drifting off thinking like this, but when she said more than friends, I thought since they had been married, I thought she was meaning like in a hot and heavy type of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, is she like that attracted to him, or she probably knows something more than we do about him because they have slept in the same bed for at least a week with the honeymoon and all. So maybe she got a chance to find out and check out his birth certificate.
Ha ha, maybe so.
So maybe she, just, I mean, not saying they actually did anything, but just saying maybe even if she, felt it while she was sleeping and they were
Yeah.
cuddling or whatever. And so maybe she's thinking, well, yeah, I could work with that.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just was thinking about that. Um, any clue or any idea on your side as to why you think Lauren seems to be she doesn't seem to be able to have closure with this man, and she seems to want to kind of still keep him around. What are your thoughts on that?
I just think it's the typical, you don't want to feel like you lost. Everyone comes into the process because they've tried dating so many other ways. And so this is like another way that you don't really get the opportunity. Most people don't get this opportunity to have an expert pick your person and then get married at first sight. So I feel like it's just maybe a little piece of pride. Like she wants to give it another
Oh,
try. Yeah, and then maybe too, Lauren and both, they may be seeing they're wrong where they did give up too soon. And it could be genuine that they want to give it another try because they saw where they went wrong.
okay. That's a good point. What about Orion? Do you think that's something that he's really going to go for at the end of the day?
Oh, it's hard to say because Orion is the one that really acts like he wants it because Lauren asked him, had he been dating anybody else? And he said that he was not finished with their situation yet. So he's acting like he really wants to give this another try. So possibly he could be willing to give it, his all again.
That's true. That's a good point. I just like I said, I'm so confused by these two. I just don't really
Right.
understand. They're making me feel like I am really out of whack with what's going on. So I don't know, but but God bless them. God bless them. Maybe we'll hear more from the two of them at the reunion because honestly I personally kind of thought too, this one other thing that I thought, I wonder if Lauren, because of her loss of her mom within the last 1 year, I'm wondering if she's still so caught up in her grief for her mom, like you said, that this would be maybe one more person that she would be losing, she feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be kind of heartbreaking for her because I think she's still in a very vulnerable position, having lost her mother within the last 365 days. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so that's a very big loss because basically she told us at the beginning of the season her mom was like her best friend.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's a really big thing. But we'll press on to our next couple, and that would be uh, this couple here. Very interesting. This get that comment off the stage. Very interesting couple this week. Chloe and Michael. What did you make? What did you make
Yeah.
this? Okay, so we see them. We see them starting off. They're at a farm, which I thought was really interesting because I thought these were both like cityfied people, right?
Right.
we see them
Right.
at we see them at this farm. We find out at this last minute, at the 12th hour, halfway to decision day, that apparently Chloe has always had this idea in her head that she wanted to go live on a farm and she wanted to have foster 500 farm animals. Like what?
Ooh, goodness.
500 farm animals, and plus not only 500 farm animals, but she also wants she lets Michael know she also wants to have 5 foster kids at a time.
Yes, at a time. Oh my goodness.
What do you make of that, Kimberly?
I don't believe her one bit. The minimalist, the perfectionist. There is no way you can live a life. And then the children, she wants them to be like teenage or middle
Mhm.
school children, and children who like have, I think, disabilities, if I remember correctly. That
Yep,
is going to
yep.
be a lot. That's a lot of work. I don't think she's really understanding what she is saying. I think she'll be better off just volunteering, kind of like she did at the animal sanctuary, a few days a week, and then
Yeah.
volunteering maybe at like some kind of foster care or something, or even take in the foster children for the holidays. That could be a good start.
Right, right, right. I think so. And then, what the thing that occurs to me, and I'm going to say, like, I think it's noble of her in some
Yeah.
ways to want to help. Because one of the things I did appreciate about her and Michael from the beginning, when they first got married and they talked about whether they wanted to have children, and they both had decided that they didn't want to have their own biological children, but they wouldn't
Hmm.
mind the idea of adopting or fostering
Right.
children that were already in the world that needed a good home. I thought that was beautiful. But
Yeah.
one of the things I think she has to consider, like we've seen her already, she seems to have a high level of stress and anxiety, right?
Yes.
So I'm thinking like I've raised 2 kids already, and I'm thinking like, okay, trust me, when they're teenagers, that
Ooh,
is a difficult time for both. I'm talking about even with the best of kids, like my kids didn't get
yeah.
in any legal trouble or police trouble. They had good grades. They were both high achieving high school students, went on to college. But even at that, high school and middle school, even at some points, it's rocky. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work to keep them out of the streets, to keep them away from drugs and all the trends that are going on. And I dare to say now with social media, you're trying to keep them off of social media. It's
Yes.
a lot. Like I'm like, why would someone who has high anxiety think that they could handle more than 1 or 2 kids at a time? I just don't understand
Right.
that. Just didn't make any sense to me at all. But and then Michael, what do you think about Michael's reaction to this whole thing? The kids and the
Michael
farm.
Michael was like, hold on now. I don't know about all that. So I like his honesty. I love the
Yeah.
honesty. He's not just saying, oh, yeah, that's great. He's like, well, I don't know. He's kind of pumping the brakes on that one. So I liked his response to, her going way above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Let me get that back up and then I was going to take it down. But D has a very good comment, and I agree with you, D. The guys may be rubbing off on Michael a bit, but Chloe
ooh,
also may be asking for a little too much. Absolutely.
yeah.
I don't understand, like, the thing that this season, and I don't know if this was true all the other seasons, but this season, the thing that I'm noticing is it's like, are you people here on this show because everybody else that's ever dated you has said you got too many issues or you're too weird? Like, I
Mm,
mean, and I hate to say use the term weird, but if you come from a big city and then like all of a sudden you say you want to go live on a farm, which is
right.
funny because the after party, like let me say this, the after party. So Keisha and I Pulliam this week was her and her husband, the actor Brad James, they actually do live on a farm. They have removed themselves from the big city living of Atlanta, where she was originally from and where she had went
Hmm.
back to after her Hollywood days on the Cosby Show and whatnot and whatnot. But they actually do live on a farm with their 2 kids
Wow.
and animals. So I mean, I guess it's a thing, but I'm just thinking that
Right.
if you go on the show and you're talking to somebody that you don't know, doesn't know you from a can of paint, that's a lot to spring on
Hmm.
some strange person, some stranger. Hey, I want to live on a farm. I want to get 500 animals that are sickly and in need of wheelchairs because they were looking at
Ooh,
the one cow. One cow had a wheelchair to go because I guess their legs were
yes.
missing or something. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to
Yes.
be laughing, but it was just like it's so much. Then you want to
Too
go
much.
and adopt. You want to foster kids that have emotional, mental, special needs issues. Like
Right.
I
Ooh,
don't know
that's a
anybody
lot.
that Who just picks that out of the blue? That's I'm wondering. Okay, I gotta ask this question. D, what do you think? I'm wondering, and some other people have said this. Do you guys think that Chloe is just throwing this sauce out just to scare Michael away?
I don't think she is. I think this is truly what she wants in her head. Like when I was in my 20s, I wanted 5 children. But this lady is like, what, 39, I think? And it's a
Yeah,
little too
she's
late.
basically 40 years old. Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say she ain't no young chick like that. She's she
right.
she she an old head. She an old head at almost 40. Like she done
Yeah,
lived two adult lives right there.
right.
20
So
and
I think
20,
she's just, it sounds good and it's probably something that she truly wants, like a goal, a dream. But I don't think it's going to be realistic. I really don't, because you got to think about her always needing her break. She needs time to herself. You can't get too much of that when you have 5 children and a big farm.
Right. And then I'm wondering, where's the money coming from? Now maybe true, granted they both seem to be corporate professionals, so maybe they're both at this point working remotely full time. So maybe
Okay.
they're going to have their profession at home in their home office so they can go anywhere. I do get that, but
Hmm.
again, I'm just thinking that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot to
Yeah.
take a city guy. And the thing about it, Michael, does he strike you as a farm guy? He doesn't strike me as a farm guy.
No, I don't see it. He seems so clean and, kind of neatish, and doesn't seem, even Chloe. I wouldn't imagine her being a farm girl wanting to get dirty and scoop up poop. No.
Yeah. Wasn't she supposed to be a minimalist?
Yeah, exactly. How are you going to do that with 5 children? And then, special
Nah.
needs children at that.
Special needs children, special needs and emotional issues. And then like I said,
Yeah.
my whole thing is she's got her own set of having a weakened anxiety system, and she's high anxiety all the time. So why would you got high anxiety? How
Yeah.
are you gonna cope with yourself, with your own emotional mental health
Yeah.
issues, and then cope with these kids that got mental health issues? How's that
Yeah.
gonna work? So Michael is gonna be the caregiver of every darn body.
Right, and it's going to drive him crazy too. I'm wondering what kind of therapy are they going to have to help them cope with all of this, because it's going to be sad, because people are going to be mean, especially if they're in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a
Bullying.
lot on both. Yeah, both of them mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Right.
I couldn't imagine.
I'm telling you. So one last note I have on them. So we see them at the end of their segments. They go to a beer spa, and we find out on the after party apparently that was actual warm beer, heated beer that they were sitting in that tub that they were in, the two of them. So they're
Oh
sitting in
wow.
this warm beer, and Keisha Knight Pulliam did have to ask the question, well, what about your vajayjay? Is that safe for your vajayjay to be in warm beer? I'm curious. So she never did
Right.
really answer that question, but I don't know either, because we all know as women that the vajayjay is a sensitive area. So
Oh yeah, protect the lady parts.
protect your lady parts. I don't understand how she was sitting in that warm beer, but apparently she was willing to do it because she was there with Michael. But anyway, so they're talking, the two of them, and she basically said, she asked him, well, how did he think he would decide if decision day was tomorrow, and he basically gave her in so many words that he doesn't have enough data, and that he couldn't go forward right now. If decision day was tomorrow, he would not be able to go forward. What did you think of that?
I was actually shocked. I was not expecting Michael to say that. I don't know why, but I really thought that, they were doing okay for the most part. So now I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if the other couples have contaminated them. That's what I'm wondering
Yep.
now. Like, oh
Yep.
gosh, you got to stay away from those other bitter betties.
Toxic. They are toxic. All the four other couples are toxic, and they have, like you said, contaminated is the right word.
Yes,
They have
yes,
contaminated them because. But and I think that's sad too. You're right, because the thing about it, I thought Michael and Chloe were getting along fairly well too. You're going to have, in any relationship, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have
right.
disagreements. I think the whole thing of this experiment is if, for example, if you're going to only be you married to that person for 8 weeks and you're supposed to make a decision at the end of that, I would think short of abuse, seeing that this person finding out that they're addicted to drugs or gambling or pornography
Mhm.
or something that that's detrimental to having a close and healthy relationship. I would think outside of parameters like that, where you got, like I said, abuse or whatever going on, I would think that to me, most parties, if you're getting along and you like the person, why
Yeah,
not say yes and then really find out what they're like outside of the cameras? Because I mean, you still got the option to get a divorce whenever you choose to.
right.
So you
Yeah,
wanted to get married. These are people that, for the most part, at this point in the juncture of married at first sight, these people, as Emily would call them, these people are all randos. They
right.
they are randos, and I don't see in real life. I don't see nobody swiping. If they swiped on, I'm not saying they're unattractive, but if they swiped on them and then they went on like Emily, she could only get 3 dates in her past. So I'm thinking that she should have tried to keep old Brennan.
Thank you.
Because, well, Brennan, maybe not. Maybe not Brennan. I'm sorry. Maybe not Brennan. But we find out, we're gonna get to that in a second about them. But just wrapping up with Michael and Chloe. I don't know. I got another thing I want to ask you about, Kimberly. I feel like you guys tell me what you thinking out there. Hey, High Vibe, good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome into everybody, even those people hiding out in those bushes. Um, I want to ask you, so like, about them. Like, it seems like what happened was Michael was all into the experiment and marriage with Chloe. And then when Chloe stepped back and took that step back because of her high anxiety and said, I need to go home for a few days and get myself together, it seemed like there was a switch, the energy switch. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it did. And I think that would be kind of the norm with anybody. Maybe he
Hmm.
just didn't want to be like overbearing. Maybe he
Hmm.
wanted to kind of calm down a little. But I did notice a little shift too.
That's what I'm thinking too. I seemed like I felt like there was a shift. And I think that Chloe may have, as a woman, and see, we got to be careful of this, ladies. She may have lost her advantage because Michael was all into her, but when she showed that she couldn't handle the closeness, I think he pulled back emotionally too.
Yeah.
And then of course now we know that they're having hot and heavy time. They've consummated the marriage. And I think, as a woman, I think we have women, we tend to, not all of us, but this is a generalization, but I think many women tend to get more emotionally invested in a man once we've opened up and crossed that line to be intimate physically, right?
Yes.
So I don't understand. Like, it seems like Michael is pulling back. Oh, I'm sorry. One last scene we've got with them. Michael and Chloe meet with Dr. Pia, and Dr.
Hmm.
Pia has this meeting, and she's talking to them, and she describes them as being not authentic. What did you think about that meeting and her saying that to them?
I think that's true because they are giving like the right answers. It's like they are just living in a perfect world. They really haven't had many disagreements or like altercations that we've seen. So I think they are both just trying to play it safe. So I agree with what Dr. Pia said about that.
Oh, okay, okay, you're right. Oh, I see what G is saying here. Yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
missed it.
So you see it. You see what Dr. P is saying. You agreeing with her?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Because you know she's a perfectionist, Chloe. Tapping back into her perfection, recovering. Let's put some respect on her. Her recovering
she's re-
perfectionist.
she's recovering perfectionist. Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're in the chat, just put a one if you think that Chloe is actually recovering as a perfectionist, or put a two if you think that she is not recovering. It's not going well for her in the recovery process. So that's a one if you think she's recovering from the perfectionism, and a two if you feel like she is not. Okay. Just drop those in the chat, would you please? But we're gonna move on to our next couple, because this is it's getting to be, these doozy couples are coming into play now. We have got our next couple is Emily and Brennan. right? So let me get this comment off the stage. Emily and Brennan. Oh my God, where do I start with these two? Where
Right.
do I start with these two? Lord have mercy. They are both a hot mess. They really are. Um, oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. My notes. Mm, I'm sorry. I gotta change that. That is not the next couple. I'm sorry. The next couple is actually Becca and Austin. Okay. Becca and Austin. Let's see if I can get that right. Okay, guys. Becca and Austin. Becca is hanging out. We see them. So all of these scenes are basically them split up now because now it's after decision day. And since they changed their minds and said no after they said yes to the experts, we see Becca. She's with Claire. She's saying to Claire that she's so sad and disappointed. And Claire asked her, "What is she going to do with the fish that they had?" You remember they had the two fish that they had
Yeah.
down there when they came back from their honeymoon. And
Right.
I thought I was just struggling because you know what? I didn't think those little goldfish or whatever those little things were. I didn't think they were even going to last a month. So I'm shocked that they're still alive. But she said that she wanted to take both of them, but she wasn't sure because it's unfair. Like one belongs, I guess, to Austin and maybe one to her,
Hmm.
but she didn't want to separate them because, like any pet, if you have two of them, they kind of have gotten used to being around each other. So I thought that was quite an interesting dilemma. So, what did you think about that, Kimberly?
I laughed. I said, Austin probably don't care about those fish. I'm sure she can keep both of them. But it is funny, like you mentioned, the fish lasted longer than their marriage.
It did indeed, and I'm shocked by that. So, she probably should keep both the fish because they might be lucky fish or something because they're definitely special. What did you guys think? Were you guys surprised out in the chat? Were you surprised that the fish lasted as long as they did? Um, Oh, wait a minute. I should have had this up for the last couple, but this is D saying, for some reason, Dr. Pia appeared to be gearing her be authentic comment up more toward, okay. Ah, yes, be authentic. That's a good point. That is a very good point. I agree with you on that. Um, but back to Becca and Austin. So, uh, Austin, we see Austin later on out with his friends. Well, first he's with his lady friend, his roommate, right, at the house, his
Hmm.
housemate, and he's telling her. She asked him how did things go. He said, unfortunately, they didn't make it. But here's where he begins to tell the truth about the whole situation with the producer. He tells her that yes, he did go out with the producer, and then he actually lied about it to Becca, to which his friend basically kind of said, you know that's wrong. You know that's wrong, Austin. And he dropped his head and tried to look remorseful. What did you think about that?
Ooh, I was like, wow, Austin finally told the truth. I'm so glad that he didn't try to drag this thing out and pity patty with his roommate. But it's sad. It's sad, but I think that Austin regrets it now. And it
Mhm.
seems, I think they could still make it, kind of. But I think I heard Becca say that Austin still wants to keep the producer as a friend. But why?
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense to me. That part I
yeah.
couldn't, yeah, I wouldn't be able to handle that part.
No, no. I think I think the two of them are better off going their separate ways. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah,
The last thing you said, we'll start there. Austin says he still wants to be friends with the producer.
yeah.
We'll start there. That's one. We'll tick that off. And we'll go down the list. Two, and a lot of this is from the after party. If you guys have been watching the after party, this week's after party with Keisha Not Pulliam and her handsome husband, Brad James, the actor. You guys need to go watch that. It was an hour long and it featured in the first half, it featured Austin and Chloe. And then the second half, which was the really fiery part, it featured Cameron and Becca. And they gave so much teeth, particularly and specifically Cameron, which is why I said he's the MVP on my thumbnail,
Mhm.
right? So it was a lot going on. But getting back to my number two reason, I feel like because Austin apparently lied about he's a vapor. He likes to do vaping, and he would go from the first day they got married. She caught him being going into the bathroom to do his vaping. So I don't know if that's something he just has been hiding from his parents and all of his Christian community that he vapes. But why and how you going to live with somebody and you think they're not going to find out that you're vaping? That's ridiculous. What were your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, I agree. That, like you said, started out just letting her know that he's not authentic and he may fib a little bit. So I think that he just didn't want it to be seen on TV. That's kind of what I feel, because he was really pushing this Christian narrative. So he
Mm,
didn't want to
yeah.
be the Christian who was smoking. But then, too, that also explains why he was willing to deal with Becca, because he's like, hey, I got my issues over here, too. So, no, I'm not really pressuring you.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying with her having the illness, the chronic illness and conditions that she's dealing with, and the endometriosis. Ah,
Yeah.
well, let's see what's D saying. Remember, Austin said that both he and Becca had decided a no on decision day, but the experts, yeah, that's another thing. You're right. That's what we've been hearing throughout the YouTube streets, and I believe it.
Right.
That's true. I believe that's 100% true. And there's a lot of signs that point to it. But here's my third reason why I don't think they should be together. They never had hot and heavy time, and there was never any sense in my mind. I don't know, Becca would know better than I do, but there was never any sense in my mind that Austin is ever going to have hot and heavy time with Becca. Now, either
Mhm.
he's maybe not attracted to her that way enough, just wants to hug and squeeze and kiss on her. That would be that would get on my nerve. That would get
Yeah.
on my nerve. Like you can't be hugging and squeezing and kissing on me. I'm a red-blooded heterosexual woman, and if I'm attracted to you, you're my husband. I'm gonna expect at some point in time we're gonna have to throw down. We're gonna have to get this energy, and we're gonna have to do something with it
Yeah.
in the bedroom. Okay. Let's go,
Right.
Austin. Let's go. Well, I mean, but can you see being married to someone and you never had any hot and heavy time ever?
I can't, but I understand what Austin said too, that typically in his relationships he waited 6 months. So that could
Hmm.
weigh heavy too. Maybe he's just holding on to that rule.
I guess that could be a whole thing, but I feel like Becca. While I don't agree that Becca, I felt like and I said this in our previous podcast. I felt like Becca was pushing him too hard for hot and heavy
Yeah.
time because he
Yes.
told her from day one, basically, during the honeymoon or right after the honeymoon, shortly after, that he was not in a rush to have hot and heavy time. So I don't think just like we wouldn't
Right.
what would we say if it was the man pushing the woman to hurry up and come on and let's make love? We wouldn't like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I stand firmly behind him, his right to not do it. But what I'm saying is, if you live with someone for 2 months, now he's saying that he normally waits 3 to 6 months when he's dating, but that's
Hmm.
dating. Dating, you don't live with the person, right? So
Yeah.
if we're living together and we got this piece of paper and under the eyes of God, since he's a Christian believer like myself and you, under the eyes of God, we are married. Like it's been 2 months, dude. What's up? We've been living together for 2 months. So that would to me, 2 months of living together day in and day out translates to like triple like they've been together for like 6 months. So we can just go ahead and do that too.
Yeah, and I think he would have if they would have been on the, good path, maybe a week or so after decision day. I think we would have got it, but that little producer just came in and messed everything up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Ellen B. Hey there, girl. Good to see you. You
Hello.
been all right? We missed you. Um, High Vibe says, and this is what I'm saying this season. The season is chock full of weirdos. Austin is a weird person, she says. Those are her words, not mine, but I do agree.
Yeah.
His whole life seems to be so secretive. A grown man sneaking in the bathroom to vape, and she rolls her eyes.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. He didn't
Yeah.
have any problem. He didn't have any problem going out with that producer though, did he?
Exactly. Now that is a mess. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. On camera. Just no
Hmm.
care. No protection of your wife's feelings.
Nope,
Oh,
not at all. And to go back to the after party, when Austin was asked about did he invite his wife to go with them, because he knew that he was meeting that producer. He knew they were going to meet out. And then, like he said, though, now the one thing he did say, so it wasn't like a one-on-one meeting. There were other castmates that came. Some of the guys came. Austin says that apparently his male friends liked the producer, and they all came and hung out with them. So here's my question. Why didn't you invite your wife to join you?
Right.
Like,
Uh,
she's supposed to be your best friend. Why did she not even know about this? Like, if he had said to her from the start, "Hey Becca, I'm going to go hang out with the so and so, whatever the producer's name is, and some of my guy friends. We're just going to have a couple of beers or tacos or whatever they were doing, whatever kind of food they were eating." If he had said that to her and then she said, "Well, no, you know what? I'm not feeling up to it, blah 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 blah. I've got this chronic illness and this pain I'm
yeah,
having." Then he would have been clear.
right.
Wouldn't nobody been able to come back and say, "Well, hey Becca, we saw him out with the producer," because she would have said, "Well, I know he invited me to come."
Right. But it goes back to they had originally said no anyway, so they were done.
No, no, this is wait a minute now. If you go back to last week's episode, they had said yes in front of the experts, right?
Well,
That
no,
was the
no. They wanted the word on the street is they both wanted to say no, but the producers made them say yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, but still, I'm still saying, okay, I guess I see what your point is. Your point is basically, and that's the problem with this season. So everything
Yes,
is a lie. Everything that
yes,
we're seeing on camera, and if you don't watch the after party, you just can't keep up, because the after party is where they tell the truth. They don't tell the truth on the show. They lie. They lie. They
right.
lie. They lie. They lie for the optics. They lie so the women can stay together and build up this feminist club, and they can be
Yes.
all against the guys. We're anti-guys. It's a gender war. All these things are going on, and we're not seeing it, so nobody's really understanding except those of us that are watching the after party. So I see what you're saying, because they really were saying no. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think what you're saying is that Austin didn't feel it necessary to tell Becca, because at that point they're basically not together anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yes.
Mm. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, and I'm just looking at this. Thank you for that. Well, wait a minute. I'm just reading this. At the after party, Becca said that Austin had told her something different from his statement that he normally waits 3 to 6 months before hitting
Oh,
it, smashing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there. Cameron and I are talking about this offline. I don't believe Austin. So I don't know if it's true that there's something going on with his sexuality. Is he bisexual, pansexual, homosexual, heterosexual? I don't know, and I really don't care. I'm not, here to judge anybody and what they do in their private time in the bedroom and their intimacy, right? I really don't care.
mhm.
But what I do wonder about, since we're reviewing this, is that if he's not a normal heterosexual man, if he's not heterosexual and there's something else going on, could be bisexual, pansexual, or he's
Yeah.
just not attracted to his wife, then why doesn't he just say that? Why doesn't he just say
Mm,
that?
yeah. It kind of goes to what Brennan claims he was trying to protect Emily. So they're all, going on that protect bandwagon.
Mm. Oh no, I didn't know that. I didn't notice that, D. Yeah, the protect our image, right? Exactly. I didn't notice that, but like I said, I think those are all so many reasons why, if I were Becca, there is no way I would want to stay married to Austin. I wouldn't be wondering. I feel so bad
Yeah.
for these women on these reality shows. I don't know if you've been watching Love is Blind this season. uh,
No.
they have a beautiful black lady named AD. Her name is Amber Desiree, but they called her AD because there was a Caucasian lady that was on there. Her name was Amber, so they decided to give Amber Desiree AD. That's her name. So anyway, she's dating this black guy in the pods. They come out, they hit it off. But this whole thing about, he when they get to the altar, he makes all these excuses about why he didn't marry her. He didn't marry her because his dad cheated on his mom. His dad used to take him on trips as a child to his mistress's house or wherever, and he just had to hide all of this from his mother. So he says his images of marriage are very bad. They're very poor because the only thing he knows is Will Smith, and who was the other person? Somebody drop down in the chat if you remember who Clay said was his like. I don't understand these black men. Like, I don't understand, how do you have somebody, how is Will Smith your mentor? How is it
Right.
that you don't, do you not go to church? Okay, so if you don't go to church, you're not a religious person. You don't have, you went to college, you don't have any college male friends, you don't have any uncles, you don't have a godfather, you don't have a neighbor that's happily married, that is shown how to keep their marriage together for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like I have in
Yes.
my community, my church family, my neighborhood. Like,
Yes.
what in the heck is going on?
Yeah.
I I I I, I guess I don't get it. I just really don't get it. This generation right now, this coming up, millennials or whatever, y'all better start praying. Y'all better drop down on your knees and start praying and get yourself, if you want to be married, male or female, get yourself a mentor that's happily married. Get yourself a mentor that can take you through and help you. Go over to Janice Hilton's channel, for example, right?
Yes.
Because she's talking all about it. She's over there talking all about it, and she's mentoring young women on
Right.
how to pick out the right man to be happily married. But you guys, it's some things to me that seem like, for my generation, that's common sense, but for the young women today and the young men, apparently, like, if you think that Will Smith has got a good marriage and he's got an open marriage and the two of them don't even live together, we find out,
Thank you.
like, you're sadly mistaken. Like Dr.
Right.
Peppers, she got a separate home from her husband. That's probably not who you want to mentor yourself behind. Let's see what D is saying. I know I'm chit chatting enough. Austin did say he invited Becca out that night, but Becca wanted to stay home. Austin didn't
Ooh.
say he was inviting her to meet the producer, though. Yeah, he did. You're right. At the after party, he did say that. But did you catch, D? Did you catch that when he said that he told Keisha Knight Pulliam, he said he invited her to something afterwards, and she did say no. So in
Oh.
my mind, what I heard, and maybe I'm mistaken, but you go back and listen to it, because I just watched it this morning, so it's fresh. Um, in my mind, the thing of it is, he's basically saying he was out having a good time, and when he saw, what was it, Claire, I think was it Claire and Emily that were out, that
Emily.
spotted them. Emily, okay, so Emily spotted them and saw them out, and he knew he was busted. So then he calls her and asks her and invites her out because he knew he was busted. And then my biggest problem with him is, why isn't the first thing? So okay, so we've all, I think, I can't say everybody, but I'll speak for myself. I've had it where, I did something that I shouldn't have done, or I didn't invite my mate or something like that, and got caught, or didn't get caught. But here's the thing about it: if you go and explain it as soon as possible, especially when she was asking you last night, were you out with the producer? His defense mechanism is to lie and say, no, no, I
Mhm.
wasn't out with the producer. who
Right.
who said that there's no
Right.
way, I was with my friends, the guards, I was with,
Right.
you know you're just lying. Just
Yeah.
lying. I mean, the women are looking at you. They probably got screenshots, pictures of you. Everybody carrying around their cell phone these days, right? You
Yep.
mean to tell me that he doesn't stop to think, okay, I should come clean in this moment? When they were back last week, when they were sitting back at the pizza party, if he had just come clean then, it would have stopped that whole tirade that she went through.
Right. Oh goodness. And then the
Oh,
lady said that they
mhm.
hadn't even talked to them after I think it was like 2 days later, Emily, Claire, and Becca was sitting around and they said they hadn't even heard from their husbands at all. So they were really done.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, exactly. That they were done. Exactly. Uh, High Vibe is reminding us too. What do you think about this? Like I said, going back to sexuality, and what is sexuality is not my business. But do we everybody recall back when Austin said early on that he likes to be pegged. And she said her radar went off. And I had to go look up, by the way. Okay, yeah, I know I'm older. I had to go look up what pegging was because I thought it was something totally different than what it actually was. So, for those of you that don't know, I can't say it here. This is a PG-13 show. We don't do R-rated. So you got to go look up what pegging is. But it kind of implies that what this action is, that it might be someone that might be more leaning toward being bisexual or homosexual. And of course, High Vibe says, well, we know that Clay's a liar too. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a liar and a time waster, just like his father. Kirby says wait a minute. Kirby says he should have never been on the show. Yeah, talking about Austin. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He should not have been. Like he's a man child. He's what, like 30, 31 years old, and he acts like he's 15. That's ridiculous. His growth is stunted, his emotional growth. What do you think, Kimberly?
Yeah, you're right. He's just weird. I always said I felt like he was awkward, and I always said I felt like he had some challenges mentally because he was the one that I was like, yeah, he might be on the spectrum the whole time, but he's just. At first, I wanted to say maybe it was because he was trying to protect this Christian image, but I'm like, that boy ain't studying no Christian image because not one time that I saw did he bring on anyone from his church. Like you never saw his pastor, the
Mm-mm.
deacon, the mother, the godparent,
Mm-mm.
no kind of Christian like authority or mentor type figure. He was always
Mm-mm.
going to the cousin, the friends, or Becca's friends. And I'm like, where's your church
Mm-hmm.
family? If you're all into church, you best believe my church family is gonna be up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine too. Mine too. My church family is deep into my life. My church family,
Yeah.
some of my members and friends from my church family, when you say church family, they really are family. Like my godmother, for example, is my second mother because my mother has gone on in. Unfortunately, she's passed away. But my godmother is like the closest thing to a mother. And when I need a wise older woman who has been happily married, successfully married, when I
Mhm.
need someone to talk to about dating or marriage or anything like that, that's who I
Yeah.
talk to. You
Right.
know, she's a real life person. I'm not looking for Naomi Campbell to give me marriage advice. I don't know Naomi Campbell. I don't have her phone number. We're not close.
Right.
So I don't understand this whole. I don't know if it's because people are into IG and they see all this stuff on IG. They think they know these people, these celebrities and whatnot. Like, get yourself a real friend and a real advisor and a real mentor, and quit looking at IG for your happiness, because some of what you see on IG, a lot of it is curated, and it's not,
Yes.
as Dr. Pia would say, it's not authentic.
Yep. So
It's not
true.
authentic. So, but we're gonna press on to our next couple because I don't know what more I could say about these guys. There's a lot more that they did, but it all basically was like talking about their failed, yeah, celebrity worship. Exactly, High Vibe. That's what a lot of people are into these days, and I never understood it. And I can't even count. High Vibe. I tried to sit down and write down the name and list of people, all the famous people I've met and worked with. I can't even count it. Like everybody from people like George Clooney, Jennifer Lopez, um, Ed McMahon, Mario Andretti, the race car driver, all these different people that I work with, Aretha Franklin. And I just never, even in working with them and meeting them, oh, and one of my favorites, Wendy Williams. Um, they all seem like regular people. Like I never put them up on any kind of pedestal. They're just regular people. Like what? Like Usher. I met Usher. But anyway, okay. So I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't really get it, but we're gonna move on to
Same.
our next couple.
Mhm.
And I know everybody doesn't have that same experience where they were working in a field where they got to meet a lot of celebrities. But even if I had never met them, I couldn't think more highly of someone I didn't know than when I've got examples all around me of what is a good Christian marriage, what is a good
Yeah.
solid marriage. My own godparents have been married. Well, my godfather just passed away late last year. I'm sorry, but they have been married 75 years. Same wife, same
Wow.
husband.
What?
75 years. That's common in our church. There's people, many people in our church married 50, 60 years. So, I mean, if I need to go get an advisor, I'm going to talk to one of those wise women. Um,
Yes, that is
mm,
awesome.
yeah, you probably have that in your church too, right? You probably have a
Yes,
lot of members that have, my pastor says, this is what my pastor says, and I'm going to move on. My pastor says that our church has two gifts here in Detroit. It has two gifts, and that is of the members having a long life. We have several members that are you still there, Kimberly?
yes.
Oh, okay, because your picture, so all of a sudden your picture went out, and I just didn't know if you had went out completely or not. But our pastor says that in
Okay.
our church that the gift of long life. So we have several members that are in their 80s and 90s. I think we had one member that passed away recently that was 100 plus. And then the other thing is long marriages. So we have many people in our church that have been married 25, 45, 50 years. That's the way it rolls. You know, people that come from my background, that worship, that love the Lord, they oh, wait a minute. This thing is doing something. What's going on, Kimberly? I don't know why you like you left the stage and then you came back to the stage. But anyway, we're gonna move on. What do you think about Emily and Brennan?
Oh my goodness. Now wait, I do believe that Brennan was trying to protect Emily. I gotta start there. I
Oh,
feel
wait. So
like
you did see some of the after party. You did hear about it.
yes, I heard
What
that
did you hear?
there was maybe something Emily had stepped out or was messing around with somebody.
Yes, yes. And here's the thing I'm wondering. We found out from Cameron on the after party, right? That Emily had gotten drunk, went out to a bar by herself, met a guy from Australia, started talking to him, and the next thing you know, they were sitting in the bar making out. What I want to know, because she loves one night stands so much, I want to know, did she actually smash this guy? That's what I want to know.
Well, I
What do you
want to know
guys
where were the
think?
other ladies? Where were the other ladies? They're always trying to protect her. Where did they know this? Did they see this? I know you said she went out
Mm,
by herself, but where were
mm.
they? So that's why I've been saying I believe that Brennan had some information from the beginning because I mean, just
Yep.
with her history, her past, you could just use that and drown her, honestly, because it is her lifestyle choices were not really desirable. And it is something that you could really dig into a person and make them feel bad about their choices. So, that alone, I was like, I believe Brennan. Not it, that was even before I heard about her making out with some random person. I'm like, yeah, Brennan probably does have something that we don't know about. So I'm so glad that it finally
Hmm.
came out because that's why I kept saying I want him to say what is it, what is it. Yeah, we know she, had a lot of one night stands and she drinks, but I was like, it got to be something else.
I didn't know. I thought that was enough. I mean, again, maybe
Yeah,
I'm just a old fashioned prude. Call me old fashioned prude, but I think if a woman is bold enough on her wedding day to tell her husband that,
yeah,
oh, I never had a relationship and I just had one night stands, and everybody ghosts me. All the men that I know from Tinder, from Plenty of Fish, from Christian Mingle, they all ghost me after the third date. Well, Emily, that's not good PR.
right.
That's
Too
that's not
soon.
good
It was too
PR.
soon.
Too soon, and maybe, you know what? Maybe never. Like
Yeah,
if you were committed to changing your life, and
yeah,
now you've been born again, and I'm using this as a Christian believer. I'm going to use a biblical example of when we become born again and we accept Christ into our lives. You don't you don't go backwards, you go forward. And
right.
everybody doesn't need to know your past. If you've had your STD test and everything worked out that you good, you ain't got nothing permanent, you got rid of whatever you did have, everything
Yeah,
is good with that. I wouldn't tell that next person. I wouldn't.
yeah,
I wouldn't tell them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't tell them. And if as we got to know each other, maybe I would say, well, obviously he has a past. He slept with other women, right?
right.
So I don't know. I don't think I would tell him. That's just me. I wouldn't tell him. I wouldn't go around running my mouth. And I darn sure another thing she did on wedding day, she told his best friends, his best men. She told his best
Yes,
men that she was a tramp. So now,
yes.
guys, I know you gotta say, why is Aubrey up here slut shaming? I am not. But if you want to call yourself, you want to describe the behavior of a so-called slut. If you want to describe the behavior and pin it to yourself that this is what I did, this is what I do, then what is somebody supposed to think?
Right. And I believe like that's not something a man would be proud of. You kind of want
No,
to be proud of your wife. You want to brag on her. You kind of want to feel like
absolutely.
you got a prize, you won, but he didn't win anything really with her.
A drunkard,
Yeah, and then she's still doing it.
a
Like
loose woman,
how?
a
That's
loose woman.
crazy.
Oh,
That's
wait a minute.
crazy.
To your profession, an accountant that helps people keep their money and how to be wise about budgeting, a woman that doesn't even know where all her money goes.
Oh gosh.
So what
Right.
is she bringing to the table? Like, we get that question all the time about what are people bringing to the table. He
Yeah.
brought whatever he brought to the table, and Brennan, two things can be true at the same time. Like Brennan is
Hmm.
no prize either. He's
Right.
closed off. He's Russian. He's a New Yorker. He's very blunt, and he really doesn't open up to Emily. We've seen that. But
Right.
if this thing happened where she cheated on him by making out with a guy early on in the relationship in the marriage, and I believe it did, I think that speaks to why he doesn't want her.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want her either. I wouldn't want a
No.
husband. And my husband, right after we came back from our honeymoon, my girlfriend see him out cheating on me, kissing and making out and groping some strange woman in the bar. I wouldn't want him either.
No. And then maybe he saw too what other men saw that made them not want to return after a second or third date. It has to be something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's got a lot of stuff going on. Emily, in my opinion, is a high school mean girl. Just
Yeah.
like going back to Love is Blind, just like we had on this season of Love is Blind, you had that horrible Chelsea. Chelsea was horrible. A mean girl. A mean
Mm.
girl. When she pointed out that the black woman had a stacked body and she said, oh, she got a shelf behind booty or whatever, just because
Mm.
she flattened the back, hey, we can't help it that we gifted like that, girl.
Right.
Get you
Wow.
some. Get you some. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, this
Mm.
this is this is part of our heritage. So don't
Right.
be hating on us. You hating on us for what? For our natural beauty? The lady got a body and she works out. I mean, it's natural and she enhances it by working out. And you jealous of her? Come on.
Wow. Like they
You got
say,
what a
don't
mean
hate,
girl.
congratulate.
There you go. Don't hate, congratulate. But yeah, but I think Emily was a mean girl when he talked about her being negative, how she made fun of Michael and Chloe's vows right after the ceremony. I mean, like she didn't even wait to get home one on one with the cameras not being around. She said it right in front of the cameras that their vows were vanilla. She thought they would be more exciting. And guess who was the only person that laughed at that? The other mean girl this season, Claire. Claire
Right.
was laughing. If you go back and watch it, Claire
Yes.
is sitting there cutting up laughing right along with Emily. Two mean girls. And
Yeah.
so they don't understand why they've never been able to hook a boyfriend or hook a husband. I could tell you why. They're mean girls.
Yeah.
They are mean girls. But we're gonna skip on over we basically see them. I mean, we got scene after scene of them talking with their friends, talking about this marriage that didn't work. And the one thing that stands out, I'm just going to go over this real quick on my notes. With Emily, her girlfriend says this, and I thought this was very telling that if this is how Emily looks at things, it's also why things never work out for her. Her girlfriend said, well, oh, your marriage was like a vacation. Her girlfriend also says, Emily, you know what you always do to get over something? You just go travel and travel and travel and travel. Now, what do you think about that, Kimberly?
Oh, just terrible advice. They keep running to these friends who don't have much to offer. But I think instead of just doing what she always does, she need to dig deep and find out what is the issue within her and then try
Right,
to work on and protect, perfect that, because you gotta at some point protect your image. She just doesn't care. She's making the same mistakes as she's made all her life with the one night stands, hooking up with random people. And it's like, where
Hmm.
is the growth? You gotta grow. Don't travel. Go travel to a therapist. Go travel to like a counselor.
Travel to your nearest therapist, right?
Yes. And that is just sad.
And
Sad to see women like this.
right, and wait a minute, and make sure your therapist is not clarapist, okay?
Oh my goodness. Please, please, please let her get her a few more classes in. But no, I
I'm
don't.
not recommending that anybody ever go see clarapist ever. Clarapist is
Right.
horrible,
Yeah.
horrible. Hey there, Sean. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Um,
No.
yeah, Clarabus is horrible. And then let's speaking of Clarabus, we're gonna move on to her and we're gonna wrap this thing up because I got some things to say and I may not be able to get it all out today. We may have to talk about it and save it for next time because it's a lot with Clarabus. I find her behavior reprehensible. I really
Hmm.
do. I find it reprehensible when we found out come to find out the after party, all the things that she did and said, and how she basically masterminded these women to break up because she didn't have a marriage. So she didn't want anybody to
Right.
be happy. Um, we've got her, and basically, I'm just going to go right to what Cameron is saying. I mean, sorry, yeah, Cameron is saying, and that is that Cameron is saying that from the very beginning, she had him pledge to her that he was going to keep her secret that she was never attracted to this man. She was
Mm,
never attracted to him, to Cameron.
yeah.
She was never attracted to Cameron, and subsequently, because I guess basically, like, we talk about all the men. The women are saying that the men were worried about the optics. See, I think a lot of these buzzwords Claire came up with. Claire came up with the silencing of the women. She came up with that theory. She
Right.
came up with, maybe some of the men were saying optics. Brennan and Austin specifically may have said they were concerned about optics, which actually, to think about it, if you got a job and you work in corporate America, or even if you have your own business, most people going on this show, you should be concerned about how you look. You should be.
Yeah.
You should be concerned about it, but not necessarily change everything that you do. Try to be yourself as much as possible. But none of these people, they were all lying. So getting back to Cameron, he says that he lied about that, but where he drew the line was when Clarapis came to him and wanted him to lie about Emily. And this is how it comes out that Emily was cheating on Brennan, that she was out making out with another guy. She was doing what she does best, being a floozy.
Mm,
Yes, I said it. I called her floozy. She was having, I'll say this, she had floozy like behavior. Let me say it that way. I say it a little bit better. She had floozy like behavior, and she thinks that she's supposed to have a boyfriend. She thinks that she's entitled to have a husband, and yet
no.
she's out cheating. Like, who in the world in their right mind wants a wife that's a cheater?
Ooh,
We'll say D says, I will say that Emily did see signs that Brennan was cheating on his cell phone. Okay, was he? Was he? Was he cheating with the cell phone text? What he was saying. Okay. And I guess she has made you're right, during the season, Emily has made some remarks alluding to this. What do you think? Do you think that Emily did see signs that Brennan was cheating
mm.
on his cell phone text? What do you think?
It's possible, but I don't know. I just don't trust these women. They just, to me, it just seems like they'll say and do anything. I was glad to see Austin admit to his, because I was like, I don't even know what to believe there with Austin and the producer. So same thing with Emily and Brennan. I don't know. I don't trust that Emily would be 100% honest, because she didn't tell on herself. Or maybe she never thought
Mm,
that Brennan knew. She didn't think he would find out that she was hooking up with the random people. I mean, that carries way more weight than some text messages. Or is she saying that's why she did it? She saw the text and then she went out and hooked up with a random person. It's still wrong
it's still
and
wrong.
nasty, and still nastier. It's just so low.
Very low, and that's what I'm saying. So I don't excuse her, because whatever text messages she saw, I mean, who's to say, like, if they're all new to this process. They've only been married, like, say, 2 months, or when they first got together, they, had only found out they were getting married 2 weeks prior to that. So who's to say that some old girlfriend doesn't randomly still have his number in her phone, and she says, "Hey, Brennan, you want to go get some drinks, or after work, or whatever, blase blah blah." That doesn't mean that he's actually met the woman out for drinks, and that he's actually made out with her, or had hot and heavy time. That doesn't mean that.
Right.
So I think this thing that if you have to be in your mate's phone, and you're checking their text messages and looking at who they called, the marriage is already in trouble. First of all, let's go there with
Mm,
that you got to do that, because, and then that's an invasion of his privacy. Was he allowed access to her phone? Because did she end up hooking back up with the Australian guy? I mean, like I said, like you
right.
said, it what she did versus what we know she did versus him having a few text messages is miles and miles apart in my mind. Oh
Right.
yeah.
Me too. So,
D says, what about those "hey big head" text messages? I don't know now.
ooh,
If he was sending those out, shame on him. "Hey big head, good morning, beautiful." If he was
right.
sending
Oh,
those out while he's still married, that was wrong. But so this is the other part as we wrap this up. Last thing. We find out that the two of them, Emily, had begged Brennan to stay with her and pretend that they were going to stay in this marriage so that she could get the full married at first sight experience. What do you
what?
think about that, Kimberly? It sounds
Yeah.
like it sounds like Alicia.
Yep.
All
I was
these
just,
women wanted to be in the apartment, come hell or high water. They wanted a part of the experience. They didn't really want to be married.
no, that's it. It was just an experience, probably a check, a little fame. You get a little positivity. You get a little more, I guess, recognition if you make it to the end and it seems like you're really doing the process. That's probably all she wanted, is all that came with it. I was like, what? I could not believe, that was the goal. And for her to just say that, it was kind of sad. And it seems like that was the thing this whole season. It just really seemed that they picked these people out of a hat and just put them
Yes.
together. And we didn't get much substance from any of the couples. I kind of
None.
wish they would have let Becca and Austin just say no. Just
Yeah.
let them keep their no. And then we'll see, really, that'll be true to what this season has been. Nothing. They really haven't given us much this season at all.
Mm-mm, not a thing, not a thing. Just a hot, hot, burning mess.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like Emily, this whole thing that she wanted to have the whole mass experience, but then she wanted to have it. Apparently, she wanted to have it both ways, because what do we hear her saying all season long when she would meet up, when her and Brennan would meet up with the experts? He's not doing the exercises. He's not putting his all into it.
Yeah.
Only
Right.
when she had the accident on the snowmobile, only when she had that accident, and when he
Right.
was kind of basically doing what a basic decent halfway decent human being would do, is
Yes.
try to take care of her a little bit. She got all excited, but he told her, he said, "But Emily, we're just friends."
Right. And
But
she could
that
not let that thing go.
she cannot let it go. She's all flopping on the floor of the bathroom in her little short mini dress, letting all them germs climb up her thigh,
Right.
going God knows where in her body. Come
Mm,
on, girl. Emily, somebody gonna have to sit down. Your girlfriends think that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm sure your parents probably tell you every day that you're beautiful, you're smart, you is
mhm.
kind, you is wise, you is all these things. But if anybody ever really gave you a true assessment of who you really are and who you're showing up as, it would not be all of those things. It would not
Right.
be. It would not
Yeah.
be. It's not being honest. And I'm sure inside of her, she has all the potential to be all those things and to show up in that way. But being a loose girl, a loose woman in life, and letting
Mhm.
men know that you're loose and behaving
Yes.
loose, and openly cheating on your man, that's not going to get you far.
No. Ooh.
That's not going to get you far in the world of relationships. What let's see, what is D saying here real quick, and I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for hanging out with us as long as you have. Please hit that like button. Go follow Kimberly Reviews. She is an awesome content creator. D says, I will say of the three women who made it to decision day, Emily looked the best, but all the women looked better than the men. um, I guess physically, if we're looking at that, I don't know. I'm this person. I'm just thinking about their behavior, though. Like to me, once I know a person or see them for 6 months on the TV screen every week, I feel like I'm beginning to see their character, and your character can make you uglier or more attractive to me. What do you think,
Right.
Kimberly? How do you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I really don't even remember what Emily had on now at decision day. But yeah, their personality and then just the inconsistencies and the silencing thing that they keep talking about, the men were silencing them. And I'm like, I don't see that. It just made them look worse, the women really. And I'm kind of glad that the men did kind of sit back and be quiet, lay back and chill because the women were not. They really went all out this season.
They did. They did. They really, really did. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that if this is what Married at First Sight is going to give us, I'm
No.
gonna I'm gonna do like Sean, and I'm gonna just revert to watching Married at First Sight Australia and UK because
Oh,
we like that format much better. The experts are much more involved in the couple's lives and their day,
mhm,
they have weekly check-ins where they have to meet with the therapist. They do it as a group and they are held accountable. Their experts actually hold them accountable for what they do. They really, really hold their feet to the fire. So I don't know if this is what Married at First Sight US version is going to continue to do. I can't say that I think it's really worth sticking with. I don't know. Yeah, Sean agrees with me. He says he's deep into it. He started watching it. He's now on the current season of Married at First Sight Australia. Sean, I can't catch up with you because their season is really long too. Season is
mm,
really but it's good though. You could get caught up in it so easily, and when you watch it, the time goes by so quickly. It's not anything like this season, like where it just drags on, and you watch it, and when you finish watching it, you're like, well, what actually happened? Because you don't see any progress with these couples week from
right.
week to week, you know. But Kimberly, tell them about your channel real quickly, and we're gonna slide on out of here.
Oh, yes. Come on over to Kimberly Reviews here on YouTube. I post about my travels. We do the live watch of Married at First Sight on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So, the way the show goes, if you watch on your own device, however you watch your cable TV shows, I'll mute while the episode is playing so we can focus, and then I'll unmute during the commercial breaks so we can chat about what we saw. And I do the same style on Friday nights for Ready to Love. So hope to see you on my channel, Kimberly Reviews.
Yeah, she is wonderful. We like to watch. Sean and I like to go over and watch on Wednesday night her Married at First Sight live watch party. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
High Vibe is one of the some of the people, one of the people that's there, and so many others
Yeah,
that have come here. And I thank you guys for supporting both of us small content creators. I really do appreciate that. I'm sure
yes,
Kimberly does as well.
I do. Thank you.
All right. And so, guys, we're going to say goodbye. We're going to shimmy and shake on out of here. Wait a minute. Hold on one second. I got one more thing to do. Let's put this up real quick. And here we go with the shimmy and shake. Say goodbye,
Mhm.
Kimberly.
Take care.
Take care, everyone. Have a great week. I'll see you back here at 6:30, 6:40 ish PM EST for Ready to Love. Okay. See you then.